What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. The season ended on Sunday, but couldn't do the podcast till today. So thanks for listening and watching. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe, and leave a message on all the other platforms that you listen to it on. Let people know that you enjoy the podcast. Uh, we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to talk about Man City winning the Premier League illegally for the fourth time in a row. And we have Alex Avia here. I want to see how it feels to win four dirty titles in a row. I'm a Man United fan. I know how it feels to win three clean ones. So it's good to hear from the other side. Neil Chakravarty is going to join us. He's here. We're going to hear about Pochettino and Chelsea, what the Chelsea is going on. And we're going to talk about Europa League. We're going to talk about Conference League final. We're going to talk to Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England, big Southampton fan, always on the podcast. Southampton is in the final at Wembley, the big final to qualify to come back into the Premier League. It's called the biggest game in football because there's 100 million pounds on the line, at least literally. So we'll hear his feelings of negativity and fear on that because he won't be happy until they win, and then he'll get unhappy afterwards about something. But we'll see. But what's up, guys? How y'all feeling? Good to have you here. Season ended. I guess go to Alex because they won. I'm talking shit because you won, but so I got to talk shit. But how do you feel as a Man City fan? You won four in a row.
Well, if you remember, I think my first podcast with you guys, you asked if I would rather do two champions back to back or four leagues in a row. I say the league because that's just never been done. I think that solidifies like Man City being the greatest side in Premier League history. Uh, every record, man. Most point scores, most goals, most wins. It's just been. I mean, it's been incredible. I think it was. I don't know. I'm super happy about it.
I'm glad you're happy, but all of that has an asterisk on it. You know what I'm saying? But and I probably won't stop bringing that up. You know what I'm
No,
saying? I'm a
that's
jaded, bitter United fan, and you're a Man City fan. So I got to at you somehow. This is my only way to fight back is through the court legal system. You know what I'm saying? So
I've been getting so many of those videos in my DMs from people who don't care about City, right? My friends like, oh, if City wins, nobody cares, and like they send me like videos from Goldbridge, from Talksport, a bunch of people saying like the 115, 115. I'm like, wow, nobody cares, but all you guys talk about is that.
it feels like I don't know because when you're a fan of your team, you're in a bubble. But after the moments of the celebration of the game on Sunday, did any of y'all hear much about Man City winning the title? Like, so I'm in my Man U bubble, but you're from Chelsea, you in Southampton. Did the country rave about it? Anybody really talk about it?
I think people are having more fun, more, pointing fingers at Arsenal, taking the Mickey out of Arsenal fans. The trophy parade that was already planned, all council permissions taken. They had the podium up at the Emirates. So I think a lot of rival fans, and it could be any team, right? It could have been Liverpool, could have been United, could have been Chelsea, right? Fans like to, rival fans like to make fun of the team that didn't get there more than praising. Like City won the league, like people have kind of like, yeah, it happens.
It's kind of boring.
It's kind of boring right now, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great achievement. And Guardiola, I think he's knocking on that number one spot, which Sir Alex has had for the longest time. I think he's clearly number two now.
Yeah, for sure. I can't even front. Uh will they win five in a row? Like, what can Arsenal do? Like, they had more goals than City, right? And they had a better defense statistically than City, right? because I thought they had up until at least the last day the best defense in the league. If you're City, if you're Arsenal, what can you do to beat this team next season?
I think like I mean Rodri's. I don't know if you saw Rodri's quotes, but he's been like scrutinized heavily because he questioned Arsenal's mentality, and that's something that I also talk about with you guys. That when Arsenal came to the Etihad, they came to defend. They came to just park the bus, not trying to win.
Mm-hmm.
And now that now the City won it, like I guess now all the City players are talking about how like Arsenal when they came, they were trying to defend and they were not trying to win. So I think like I don't know if it's like they need more players, better players, or more depth, but they might need something to kind of like when Liverpool won the league against City,
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool came to City and tried to beat us, and there were those were like it was like kind of like watching like a heavyweight boxing fight. They were just those games were nice games. People were just trying to see who's better. Arsenal
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel that way. I feel like Arsenal was just trying to play smart and trying to see if they can get some points. I think Arsenal needs to change that and go into every stadium. Like same thing happened with them at Bayern Munich. They should have the mentality. They should go every single game trying to win them without thinking about what could happen.
That's easy to say now, but every time they did at you guys and play in the way that you suggest, they lost in those big games. I remember one time they outplayed you, and then Simba Lakonga, who plays for, I forgot where he plays, but it's in the Premier League, probably a team that he got a red, and then they just lost. And this was of like a few years ago. And then last year, like Haaland and De Bruyne just tore them apart. And they came, and it's like, hey, they got 4 points from you guys. So I think it's
that's the margins, right? Like, like they lost the league by 2 points, so there's not really a lot they need to change. Like those 2 points could have been a coin flip, could have happened to any team.
Right.
Like either Arsenal could have got 2 points somewhere, City could have dropped 2 points somewhere. You really can't analyze the season, from an overall perspective to see like, oh, what can they change? But to Alex's point, the that those 2 points on that game, when you come in with such a defensive mentality, it's not just the fact that you've dropped 2 points, you've given away 2 points, so it becomes a 4 point swing to Man City. Like if you actually won that game, because you're not going to be beating City by 10, 15 points. It is going to be on the margins anyway. So you can't really concede things. Like if you see in Pep's 8 years, he's won 6 league titles. The 2 times he didn't win, Liverpool beat City at Etihad, and Chelsea beat City at the Etihad under Antonio Conte. So I mean, there is a clear path there. Like if you really want to be very critical, because I actually wouldn't be that critical of Arsenal. I think they did a great job. I think they had a great season, and this it just sometimes happens. One team has to lose, and it happened to be them.
I'm not going to be critical either. Arsenal did a great job of coming second the second time. So congrats, Arsenal. Lee, do you have anything on? Like, what can you do? That's got to be frustrating. The only thing you didn't beat them on was points, but you got more goals. Let me see. Well, goal difference is 62 a point. 62 apiece. Goals 4. So they outscored them by 5 goals, and statistically had the best defense in the league. And then you lose. You know what I mean?
I think it's just a case of like Arsenal adding more pieces next season to see if they can do things differently. Because I think like the goal stat, it makes a difference what goals those games come in. There's no good like pumping goals past the bad teams, and like it can skew. Like I'd like to know, what ratio those goals came like per game kind of thing, and because it feels like they were lacking a little bit in certain areas. And if they can add one, because I think City as a squad, like some players might leave, some players might come in, but I don't think City as a squad can really get much better. Like I feel like they have like the dynamic might change a little bit if one or two people leave and one or two people come in, but it's hard to really make that team better than it already is right now. So if Arsenal can get a little bit closer, if they can go out and sign like Isak or someone as a centre forward, if they can maybe get another centre midfielder to complement Rice a bit more, because I don't think Partey or Jorginho, are capable of doing it for a whole season. Because they've got the other pieces there. Like their defense was better this year than it's been. Obviously, once Arteta settled with Raya, they looked a bit more settled as well. Odegaard stepped up a level this season as well. So they've got some of the pieces there, but City have more pieces, and that's what made the difference, I think, even though it was only a marginal difference. So I think it's unlikely City will get any better. It's just a case of can Arsenal match them at that level, and they almost did this year, and obviously they're closer this year. How many points were they off last year? I can't remember now.
Can't remember, but maybe
5
ended up being like
points.
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Alex probably remembers.
Yeah, it's like I think it was like 6 at the end, but just
Will
City
you
like
stop pretending you don't remember?
Five
have it
points.
branded in your brain.
I just remember
You
us
know.
winning the league on the game 36 or game 35, and then all of a sudden it's like it's done. No, but to this point, like City being better, I think City can be better because this actually, out of the past 4 seasons, I mean, I'm gonna sound so spoiled, but I feel like this was like our worst season that we had over the past 4 years. Like
Mr. 91 points.
We did. Okay, De Bruyne was out for 6 months. Haaland was injured for 2 months. City did not beat Liverpool this year. Did not beat Chelsea. Did not beat Arsenal. We beat Spurs in the last game. But if you tell me that, it's like, okay, De Bruyne's gonna be injured half of the season. Haaland's gonna be out 2 seasons. You're not gonna beat anyone in the top 6 except United because it's United. Obviously, anybody beats United.
The disrespect.
I will tell you, like, there's no way City wins the league, and somehow we won it, So I think, like, if City can get better, I think they can get better because this wasn't like a fantastic season like in the past years,
I think maybe performance-wise you can get better, but I think in terms of the squad and the depth you've got, I think it's hard. It's hard for you, like, as if De Bruyne was fit this entire season, if Haaland was fit this entire season, you probably would have ran away with it a little bit more than you did. So I mean, like on a player-for-player level, there's still areas of Arsenal's team where they can upgrade, whereas I don't think pound for pound, player for player, that you can really upgrade that much. Like if someone leaves, like if Grealish decides he wants to start every game and he goes back to Villa or something to play Champions League with them, and you sign someone, like it'll be someone of an equivalent level, and you've already got Doku in there anyway, in that position. And if you look across the team, like it'd be hard to get a better CDM than Rodri. It'd be hard to get a better attacking midfielder than De Bruyne right now. It'd be hard to get a better sort of inside winger than Foden right now. I've seen some rumours that Ederson might leave. I mean, probably the best distributor of the ball from the goalkeeper position in the world. You might be able to upgrade slightly on.
Started the Ederson shot.
You might be able to upgrade slightly on terms of like pure goalkeeping, but the football at the feet is the biggest thing for a City keeper. So, if Ederson comes out and someone comes in, I don't think it really improves or detracts from the team.
See what Ortega did in that Spurs game? Like just a moment when you think, all right, their number one is injured, and this guy comes in cold off the bench and saves 2 blinders. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you look at like the defenders they've got, they've had injuries at the back this season, but you never know because everyone that rotated in, like when Stones was out, you didn't really notice it. Ake had a little injury for a while, and just the players they've got back there, they're all quality. So pound for pound, I don't think they can really improve that much.
The only maybe little improvement somehow get someone to replace Rodri in case something happens to Rodri. That time that Rodri was out for 4 games, we lost against Newcastle, Wolves, and Arsenal in a row, and so that almost destroyed the season. So
you do need a Rodri.
No, definitely. Like if Rodri's out, it's over.
You need a Rodri backup, but you know who you also need? Like Kevin De Bruyne's health is not going to get better than it did over the last 2-3 years. Like he's always going to have big periods of injuries. Like how old is he now? Like he's at that
maybe 31.
injury. Yeah, he's at an injury stage of his career. So there's like I think this was the biggest gap of injury time that he took off from work, sick leave. So I think next year it'll be the same or even more. So I know Foden is like stepping into that now, but I don't know how similar of a player they are. There's similarities, but I feel like they're different. So I don't. But then who's going to back up Foden? Then maybe it just switches to the uninjured De Bruyne coming in after to rest a healthy Foden. But
Also,
you're
there's
going to have some issues.
There's certain things as well, like players who, everyone says like a player takes a season to learn Pep's football and then they're better in the second season. So there's players who we haven't really seen much of who could come into their own next season, like Nunez, who they got from Wolves. He was a bit part player this year, but he's learned the system, everything. Who knows? Next season he could be flying. He could really step up, and if they keep hold of people like Bernardo Silva as well, there's so much depth there. It's ridiculous.
Who's on that list? Vardio.
Yeah.
Is it Vardio or Guard? Like that dude, like has instantly figured it all out by towards the end of the season. Like,
correct.
I'm afraid of what he's gonna do. Like,
well, he could be the Rodri replacement as well, because he started playing inside more towards the end of the season as well. Like he was covering at left back, he was covering at centre midfield. He's got the intelligence and the technical quality and the ball winning ability, I think, to maybe step in there. And obviously Stones was doing a little job in there at some points as well.
City has
basically he unlocked Foden because Foden was on the left wing all the time. Guardiola was always like, I want you as close as you can to the line. But as Guardiola was like, you know what? Maybe I can move Guardiola more to push Guardiola and have you play center, and that completely opened up way different kind of style of playing. So yeah, Guardiola was like huge.
I'll tell you one thing: is Vardio is going to stay on the team, him or Pep is going to have to change their last name because it's confusing. I don't know which one they're talking about. It's just too close. But yeah, I'm worried about Vardio. You guys have, just based on what you guys are saying, just about City, you guys have the most complete team in the league because you've had pretty much as much injuries as anybody else, but you always found a way to fill the gaps and to make it not like injuries hasn't been talked about as a thing. Like if any team in the league lost to De Bruyne, that's at least 20 points. And you guys scored 91. So that's pretty crazy.
De Bruyne, I think he almost got the most assists after missing half the season. That's just crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So speaking of assists, let's talk about reverse assists. And we're going to talk about Chelsea. And, they've had a rough season, but towards the end, they pulled it together. And Pochettino, their coach, got some stability. And everybody's like, man, next year, we're going to have to look over our shoulder for Chelsea. But one thing Chelsea's new owners don't like is stability. So it's like, how dare you, Pochettino, bring us stability? You are fired. And Neil, like, how do you feel about the season? And then now this shocking news that your coach you finally fell in love with is gone.
Well, how I feel about the season is kind of irrelevant now, right? Like you're starting from scratch again, so it doesn't really matter. It's done. It's over. It's done with. I don't think anything that happened in the season is gonna count towards the future. But I don't know. I mean, like with this ownership, I think this is something that I realized very early on that we should kind of stop judging it as a football club. This is a social experiment. Like, let's see what you can do, all the crazy things that you can do. Hollywood comes up with these scripts where a random guy who's had a career in pro sports, and he's back, he's retired, he's had a career-ending injury, and he comes back to his hometown and he starts coaching a little league team. It's kind of feels like that, like they're picking out players from all over the world. They're assembling the flavor of the season. There is no structure. The
like
moment you start thinking that, hey, maybe there's a structure, they really take a sledgehammer to it. Like they make sure that you don't never let them guess your next move. Well, that's supposed to be a good thing, right? It's not. So, I mean, to just judge Pochettino on the basis of the season, I think he did about a par job, which
A
means
what
if
job?
like he did about a par job. Like I don't think he over exceeded expectations, and neither did he, underperform expectations. So I think he did about what was like from a footballing point of view. I think at the beginning of the season, I did expect us to be fifth or sixth, get
I
into
feel
those
like
Europa
he
League realistically.
I feel like he overperformed. I feel like
Mm.
it's like Man United, right? If Man United, because they're Man United, if they do below a certain thing, or for get below a certain number of places in the table, then they're bad. But you're judging that on Man United's of seasons past with players from past and coaches from past. It's like a decade plus later. And the same thing with Chelsea because they've won more recently than United. So when you just say the name Chelsea, you think challenging for the title or top four. But you look at that roster, it's all new people, a bunch of strangers. Like there's people that know each other more on a dating app. You know what I'm saying? And then you bring in a new coach, new
Well, half our
owners.
squad wouldn't be able to get onto a dating app.
Yeah, exactly. They're
So
too
young.
young. They can't buy drinks. Like, look at the age, and then you add in your injuries. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Some of them got
So,
injuries
so
from
that's what
just
I'm saying.
growing
Like, I
pains.
don't think I think fans have been pretty realistic since the beginning of the season. I don't think anybody expected
I
us to
don't.
get top four.
In realism, you had no right to be six. It's just that with Chelsea, and we just expect you to be in the top six. But really, if we were really being realistic, you shouldn't.
I
Well,
think it
I
was
mean,
more about like how bad they started because I think Chelsea went from being like the team that everybody used to troll at the beginning of the season, like being like 14 on the table, 12, and
yeah,
somehow they went from like 14. They started racking positions. They went
right.
14, 12, 10, 8, and all of a sudden we were like, wait, how did Chelsea go above? Like I don't know, I don't know, like other teams. Like West Ham started pretty strong. People were like, oh, look at West Ham playing, or look at United, and all of a sudden the team that everybody trolled at the beginning of the season ended up being like a team that you're like, wow, maybe next season they'll be decent. And you see Palmer playing better. You see Palmer play fantastic, right? But you start seeing Pochettino playing like better football week after week, and all of a sudden it's like you said, like starts from scratch. So I don't get it.
So here's the thing. I like what Alex is saying, right? Like we started so bad, but I think people are not really realizing that because I see people saying like, the second half of the season, Chelsea got like fourth on the points table, stuff like that, or the last couple of months. It's actually way much before that. So if you look at the
Yeah,
last 32
last 30
games,
games. Yes,
32, in fact, like if you leave
32.
about the first six games, in the last 32 games, it's Arsenal 75 points, Man City 73 points, Liverpool 66, Chelsea 58.
Yeah,
So
you're
we're
fourth
fourth
in the league.
over a good, like 32 games is a decent size of games. Like it's a good sample size, right? It's almost the entire season. And the slow start of the season, you kind of pretty much again can blame the ownership because we essentially, just how we are writing off the season now, because you started from scratch, we pretty much wrote off the entire preseason. We made 7 signings after preseason ended. We signed 2 new goalkeepers after our who signs 2 new goalkeepers? Like we didn't have a goalkeeper for the entire preseason that we used in the season. So and then Cole Palmer, actually that the seventh game was the first game Cole Palmer started for Chelsea. So it's
Damn,
also
that's
like
how good he is. Jesus.
it's yeah, he definitely played a good part. But the only thing I'll say is that, having said all of that, there were things in Pochettino's hand that he could have done better. Like, it's fine expecting us to be sixth, but the fact that Aston Villa and Tottenham were ahead of us, it also shows the quality of the league. It wasn't the same quality of, like, if you leave aside the top three, the quality of the league wasn't really that great. So this actually could have been a good chance to get into top four without
Are you
having
shitting on
to
Villa?
have an absolute. I mean,
Are you
we've
shitting
played
on Villa?
okay. We've played Villa a bunch of times, and they never looked that great to me.
Bro,
I think
I
Ollie
saw.
Watkins had the season of his life. I don't know if he'll ever have such a season.
Hmm.
And he pretty much, dragged that team.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Unai Emery is great, but I don't think that team performs at a Champions League, like a top four quality. Just an indicator of how much the other teams fell off.
no, I
They
feel like
certainly
they
didn't.
are.
They didn't look Champions League when they were getting pumped 5-0 by Palace on the last day of the season. I know that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they had Chambers playing midfield. I spoke to Lloyd, and Villa's had a lot of injuries too, and so they had a lot of injuries, and it really caught up with them at the end of the season. Thank God they got the Champions League spot, but they were one of the teams I thought would finish top six, just based on if you look at, you know how you just did that Chelsea stat last 30 games.
Yeah.
Look at the games of Unai Emery last season,
Right.
like how and I think he didn't start the season last year. This was his first full season. So if
Yeah, he came in part way.
yeah, so if you count up the points that he got since he got there, I was like, this team is going to challenge, and they definitely did challenge, and they just had a bunch of injuries. So this is not the Villa again. This is not the. It's tough to like recategorize teams that have a certain history, whether they were winners or whether they were losers. But this, I would never mess with this Villa team. Like this Villa team controlled Man City like puppets. Like I've never seen a Pep team outplayed like the way Villa did to them. And then the weekend after, they did it to Arsenal. So yeah, they're good, man. They were good. They were going to be up there
They're a
regardless.
pretty good team, and I think they're gonna have I hope they have a good because they're playing Champions League football, like European Cup football after like the 80s, right? So I hope they're the key for them is I hope they're able to hold on to some of their players because the Sharks are going to be coming now.
Yeah, they got the money though, and they're in
Yeah.
Champions League, so those players might stay. You know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like when I think the owners looked at Pochettino and hey, six is fine, but then how are these guys finishing ahead of us? I think they would have been a lot more charitable to them if it was like Newcastle or Manchester United finishing above, which it kind of takes away the context of what exactly Pochettino had to deal with.
Yeah.
But it's just one more data point to show that these guys really they're like throwing away everything that is logical and is like commonsensical. Like every time something like I mean it'd be fine to sack Poch, that multiple times during the season. But the reason you judge somebody over the entire season is you want the entire season to end, right? You wait until you see like it's not that the last five games do count for something. So yeah, I don't
From
know why they do the kind of things they do. And it seems like they want somebody who they can control. Like Pochettino was a pussycat for the entirety of the season, and that's been generally his personality. But the moment he piped up and said a few things that were kind of anti-ownership, he's out of the door. Like, I don't know what level of doormat. Like, this is not just even wanting an entry-level doormat. They want the best doormat in the industry.
From everything I've read, though, like it does sound like it was a decision taken more on a strategic level than a results-based level, because you can't
What does
fault
that
what he
mean?
did.
Like, Like-
I think it just means how the manager functions within the structure at the club, and they've got their own ideas about that. I don't agree with it, because in my opinion, if you've got a manager, with the experience that Poch has got and the track record of developing young players, he's the perfect guy to work with that squad right now. So, and like, I kind of look at the job he's done and liken it to sort of, most people can jump in a sports car and drive it. Pochettino was just given the parts to the sports car
Yeah.
with no manual, and maybe even a couple of parts missing, and was like, build something. And
Some of the parts were
he-
broken.
yeah, he got it running
and
pretty
win the
quick though.
race.
Yeah, because he got it running pretty quick though, because there was those games where you were losing at the start of the season, but the stats, told a different
Yeah.
story in terms of, you were just getting a bit unlucky in front of goal, a bit unlucky at the back. But the performances weren't terrible.
Right.
The performances were actually pretty good. And then, like you say, if you take those 32 games into account, you were probably where you should be, roughly. And yeah, I think, like I say, it's on a strategic level, but all of the people they're looking at, for me, I don't really understand, because none of these people are going to win Chelsea a league that they're looking at. They're looking at some very good managers, but in my opinion, I don't think any of them are going to do a better job than Pochettino would have done, especially after the players have had a whole season learning Pochettino's methods and fitting into his style of play. And not just the 6th place in the league, but the guy got a cup final, a cup semi-final. He was proving that he could do something with this group of players, and to tear it all up and start from scratch because they want a bit more control over the manager, or they don't want a manager to have any say in the transfer business. The disagreements on that, it seems like it's because you look at the reaction of all the players on social media after he's left, none of them are happy about it. The players were playing for him, they were happy with the way things were working, and apparently they found out on the club announcement as well. They weren't even briefed by the club to say he was leaving. It was just thrown out there. So yeah, like Neil says, as soon as things look like they're getting on track, let's blow it all up again.
Yeah, I feel bad for the players because I feel like they found out after Neil did. You know what I mean? Because I know Neil leaves one page on the Chelsea website and gets notifications. So they're just like trying to enjoy their vacation.
Chelsea, the Matt Law, who's the Telegraph correspondent for Chelsea and probably one of the best sources for Chelsea news, he dropped the news almost half an hour before the Chelsea came out with it.
Shit. So you did know before they knew. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bananas, man. So I'm a United
Today it's
fan.
come out that Kieran McKenna is the leading contender.
I like Kieran McKenna, and I want to. Like
Lee,
everybody.
tell me, what the hell is a Kieran McKenna?
I mean,
Like, what's he been doing?
He was.
You got to talk to Ipswich about that, and he's a former United assistant coach,
former Spurs academy coach as well. So he was a like a young professional player who he had like a hip injury which finished his career at 22. So he just started his coaching qualification. So he's 37 now, I think, which is crazy young for someone with the experience he's got. But he started early, so he's been amassing that experience. Academy coach at Tottenham when they had a bunch of good players coming through. Then obviously went to United where he was managing the under-20 or coaching the under-21s, I think, and then through as an assistant under Solskjaer. And then
he was one of Ollie's assistant coaches. So it's quality, fam.
Yeah, he was under, I think Mourinho brought him in, right? Or like graduated him from like the youth team to because I know like you had that Rui Faria guy and then he left. And I think McKenna was one of the guys who made the jump.
Yeah, it might have been around that time. But yeah, he's had a good route through, but it's difficult to tell if a manager is cut out for something. Ipswich was a good environment for him. Like, he worked well within a no pressure environment where he was able to just build quietly and do a good job. Like, what he's done with Ipswich is incredible. to come straight
Back-to-back.
through, no parachute payments, and
Yeah.
to come second in the championship, which is one of the most competitive leagues around in terms of how difficult it is, especially when you've not got those parachute payments. So to get the consecutive promotions was pretty crazy. But you know, he's only ever done it at Ipswich. He's so highly rated. He's, by all accounts, a very intelligent coach, but as a manager, he's only ever done it in Ipswich. And sometimes an environment can really suit a manager, and you can't just sort of cherry pick them out of that environment, put them in another, and it work exactly the same. Some managers it can, and he could go and be a huge success. But I think Pochettino was way more of a sure thing in terms of knowing what level of performance you're going to get out of him with a squad that he's worked on for a year. McKenna, it could be a great decision. He could be gone by Christmas if you put him in one of those jobs. If it's whether it's Chelsea or if he ends up at United, who knows?
They're also looking at that guy from Leicester, from what's his name? Enzo Maresca, right? He used to be a coach Pep's assistant. So
yeah.
I feel like their names they're throwing out there. They're just like Neil said, they're just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. They're names who I'm normally will never see associated in the past. Under Abramovich will not be trying to go for championship coaches. He'll be like, let's get Xabi Alonso, let's get a name like that. So it's interesting what they're doing.
Yeah, none of them are as established as Pochettino, which is, it's a strange move, but it could be genius. I think it's crazy. I think most people think it's crazy, but there's only one way to find out. So enjoy the ride.
But here's the thing: like, it's not just like somebody can be a great manager, right? Like as you guys are saying, like Maresca or Kieran McKenna. Let's assume he's a great manager and he's only going to have an upward trajectory in his career from now on. But the moment any manager, like we know this, the moment any manager has that upward trajectory, he builds a personality, and he is going to question the owners on some of these things. So what's going to happen then? Then you're going to cut the cord with him too. So it's not even like the upside is that, hey, we're probably going to get this diamond in the rough, like the next Xabi Alonso, like our own Xabi Alonso project. You think Xabi Alonso rolls over and listens to whatever the Bayern Leverkusen board has to say? So that's what I don't understand. Like, how can you want both things at the same time?
I don't even know.
You want a top manager with the work ethic and the personality of something that no top manager ever has. It's just bizarre to me.
Yeah, and you know what? Now that I think back earlier in the week and the announcement of Chelsea buying that Brazilian kid for 55 mil, and the thing that crossed my mind is that a player that Pochettino wants? And then a few days later, you guys have an agreement where he's leaving, and it's like I can't help thinking that had something to do with it, because you got me a player, Pochettino, that he probably doesn't want, another offensive player. That's the last thing Chelsea needs, another offensive player. And then you're going to lose players you do need, like Gallagher and Chalobah. And it just throws a balance of something that he just created off.
Yeah, I think that Gallagher, Chalobah, Enzo Fernandez, I think those are real talking points which caused problems, because like Chelsea ownership has, like, anybody who wants to listen, they've like put up a signboard saying Gallagher for sale, Chalobah for sale. And this guy went in and made Gallagher not just the most important player, he also gave him the armband after Reece James and Chilwell injuries. And he's played the most minutes across the entire squad in the Premier League and overall. And he made Chalobah starting, and he's probably our best centre back right now, like with Thiago Silva leaving. And then Enzo wasn't really working out with Caicedo, and the ownership like, hey, we have these £100 million assets, and they don't seem to have a role in your team together. That's not something that's okay for us. So if that's the precedent that's set, how is the next manager going to be making any decisions based on footballing merit? He's always
feel
going
like
to have to like
that's
just sort by highest, go to transfermarket.com, sort by highest transfer value, and just pick the first 11 players.
I feel like that creates a weird dynamic with the players as well, because the
Yeah.
players know that whoever is coming in doesn't have power really.
Yeah.
So like the
Yeah,
players
yeah,
can be like, oh, this guy's a cuck. We can, you know, if we don't like him, we can
yeah.
moan to the board and this guy will get fired like super quick. Like if he hasn't got any authority kind of thing. Like I feel like it really undermines the manager's authority. And you shouldn't be a club where the manager runs everything, because that the days of that are gone. Like the Alex Ferguson level thing are gone, because you can't have that, because then if the manager leaves, the whole project gets ripped up. You do need, you know, a manager who works in harmony with a director of football that has a philosophy that they hire managers to.
I'm sorry, that's two directors of football.
But two directors of football and a director
Well,
of
there were
recruitment and
actually
all
three.
these.
They had to sack one guy because even
They
they
what?
realized it was too much. There's actually three.
Oh shit!
They had to sack one guy. They're the
Yeah, because it
Monaco guy,
was.
the Salzburg guy, and the Brighton guy. The Salzburg guy is gone now.
Oh, so you only
But
got got that down to two. All right, that's cool. No,
Yeah.
no problem there. Because every club should have two directors of football. It's good.
Lee, but you don't think it's so hard? Like even if you're saying like the coach doesn't have power, but even if you're a coach, you come in, or you're a player, for example, like Fernandez, Mudryk, Palmer, all those guys, they have contracts until 2034. I think like
Mm.
Fernandez has a contract 2034, Mudryk 2033. Like they know they're safe. You know, they're not really going anywhere. Or I mean, they might get
Mm.
loaned, they might go somewhere else, but they're gonna be getting paid 250,000, 300,000 a week for 10 years, you know, so they're kind of like safe in a way, you know. So
The only thing you say that
I'm
I would
not that
say
bothered
against
about
that,
that though, because
because those players actually showed up and improved to and showed that they want to play good football. I feel like what Lee did say, I'm sorry, Neil, is that the position that any Chelsea coach would be in is in the position that most coaches in any team along the league would be in. Because when you join a team, some teams have money and some teams don't. The only thing with Chelsea is they have money and used it to the point that they don't have that much financial room. So it's like so now they're in the position of a team that just got relegated and they have to get rid of some of their Premier League players to play in the championship. And it's their best players. But it's the only thing is they're in the Premier League. And now you gotta because Chelsea has a midfielder they didn't even use. What's his name? Latvia?
yeah,
Lavia.
he's
So
injured
then
all season. Yeah,
he's injured all season. When he comes back, like they're probably like, we want him to play in place of Gallagher. How much do they play for him?
Something ridiculous. Yeah, thanks.
60,
Thanks for the thanks for the money.
Yeah. So it's like they got players
That was
that
your
need
passion
to
to
get
play
on the
with.
pitch. Yeah.
yeah, we all got money from that. Like Sam Hudson got money, City got money from that. So yeah, thank
Oh
you.
shit, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone got paid.
Oh yeah. That was the Joe Shields. So Joe Shields is the one guy who's come out the entire season with some credit. He's the one of the, not a director, but he's one of the recruitment. I don't even know what his official title is, because I don't think even he knows. But he was ex Southampton, ex Man City, and he was with a lot of these Man City academy guys. So Lavia, um, Cole Palmer. So he and even this new kid from Brazil. Apparently, Joe Shields has been really involved in recruiting him. The Estevao William
Somebody
guy.
needs to stop Joel Shields from watching footage. There's somebody. If the next coach needs to like chloroform him time in a corner, take away his phone so he can't call bowling and be like, "Hey man, we got the new one." Like, because you're not even giving the chance for the ones that you got to play. This guy's finding too many diamonds in the rough.
Oh, about that, so the funniest thing was that so we have this player called Omari Hutchinson. He used to be Arsenal Academy, but he moved to Chelsea Academy a couple of years back. And then this season he was on loan at Ipswich, and he absolutely tore it up for them. I think he got like double-digit goals and assists. and he scored a lot of these last minute winners. And like 18-year-old kid, and they had their end of the season awards night last week. And Kieran McKenna, it was also his birthday. So he was asked by the MC, what do you want for your birthday? Like, what would you want from the owner for your birthday? He said, Omari. All right. Now, cut to 1 week later. Kieran McKenna is probably going to be the next Chelsea manager. And we're trying really hard to sell Omari Hutchinson. Like, it's just so bizarre. Like, everything that happens, that's why it's so tough to analyze the ownership or anything about Chelsea. Like, it's like there's no precedent to any single thing that has ever happened here.
Couldn't be happening to a better team. That's what happens when you have a warlord for 20 years. The karma comes back, and now you're paying. And City, don't think you ain't gonna get yours too. It's gonna happen.
That's why I blame the UK government. Like, I'm so mad at my fellow countryman Rishi Sunak. And
I think Boris was in charge when it happened.
Oh, was it Boris? Oh, could have been Boris. Could have been the lady too, right? Like, could have been anybody.
Who you should really blame is the UN countries that tried to arm the Ukraine, because that's what really set this off. But I won't even get into politics.
That'd be a long podcast.
It'd be a long podcast and a different podcast. I'll say a little bit about United only because we got the FA Cup final coming up against Man City. So, so Alex is sitting right there. Alex and them have the chance to win a double. We have a chance to spoil that and win something ourselves and get into Europa League. And we have
a jersey bet as well, So that's important. We have a jersey bet as well.
No, we don't. We don't at all. Get out of here. I feel like we have a chance, but not enough of a chance for me to bet you a jersey. I'm not crazy. I've seen United play all season, fam. I would never do that. And we're still injured. See, the season's over and we're still injured. You got all your starters. You know what I'm saying? But I guess I'll just stick to the Ten Hag part. Now, this is a leap to say this, but 2 seasons ago, Klopp had his whole defense injured. And what number did Liverpool finish the season before this season? Like 8th or something like that?
Oh, no, sorry, 5th to 6th.
Yeah, they didn't.
They finished in the Europa League spots.
Yeah. 5th. They
finished 5th. Yeah, they finished 5th.
Behind Newcastle.
Behind Newcastle. But everybody excused it because of Klopp had a track record, But when the same thing happens to a coach in his second season who hasn't had the time to have that track record, but did win something, the same media is like, get rid of him. So I have to look at this United season the same way, fans of Liverpool and Klopp looked at Klopp season when he had the injuries, also the Klopp season when there's a season when he lost his whole defense and Van Dijk tore his thing at Everton, and then from there the whole defense went down and they had to get somebody from Germany to play, and they had this other kid. It was crazy. What's his name? Was gone too. Gomez was gone. Who else was gone? Damn, what's that other good Liverpool defender? He was gone. So, and our defense wasn't even as good as Liverpool's, and we lost our defenders. So I would say right now they're talking about, I feel like Ineos is definitely going to fire Ten Hag after the FA Cup, but I think that's what they're waiting for, because he doesn't have a contract extension. And I know there are some negotiations to be made with his new contract-wise about control and how much say do you have with players. But even Ten Hag should be able to admit that he made some mistake, like getting players like Anthony is a huge, glaring mistake. He's like, if somebody had like Botox and you clearly could tell they had too much Botox, like it's that huge of a mistake. So, but I do want Ten Hag to stay. But if he does leave, Atalanta won the Europa League today, and you guys haven't been on the podcast, but I did mention the Atalanta coach like maybe a month ago. Like I mentioned him and I De Zerbi as possibles, but the Atalanta coach winning today made me think of him again because he's just been good since he got to Atalanta, and he's put that team in a place where, it's the only Italian team to win the Europa League, and they just always been in Europe pretty much since he's been there, and he's doing it under budget, so I like him. But Alex, what do you think of your chances of beating United in the FA Cup this, was it Saturday?
Saturday morning,
Saturday.
7 in the morning Pacific. I'll be texting you, Ian. I'll be blowing your phone. I think like this is basically I don't want to call like a wrapped up or like a it's already done, but I think like if City just is able to play the same way they played for the past 3 games, and I was watching the Brighton game actually because I was at a bar watching it, like they had every single game on the TV, and at glances I was looking at Brighton and I was like, how can you not score that? I feel like Brighton had some chances to probably score, or maybe I don't know, maybe we're just looking at the TV at the right time, or like, man, how do you
you're
miss
right.
that?
You're right. Brighton got some chances because we've allowed at least 20 shots a game, so you're gonna get your chances.
And again, I think like you mentioned it, like sometimes like the teams they just run through United, like the midfield just opens up, and instead of trying to close the play, they're just kind of like, no, let's run to the box. It's like, kind of like watching little kids instead of let's try to get the ball, move the lineup. They're like, no, let's just all go back and stack up in front of the goal and try to block Onana from watching the goal. So I think City should be winning this game, and I really hope so, because it will suck kind of like to lose against United, because you're the one who's against United.
Damn. You know what? Now I want us to win even more. Like
now you want to make a
nah,
jersey bet.
you're smug.
I
You're
baited
pretty
you
smug.
into
You're-
making the bet.
I would
I
never.
mean,
I'm not
your
that dumb.
opportunity,
Go ahead.
your opportunity might be that the City players are all still at the pub.
Yeah, if Jack Grealish can
Like,
keep his teammates in the pub, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then then we can win. But I also need to let you know that we've been playing way more compact football, and I actually do want Casemiro to start as a central defender, because I know a lot of people. Amrabat made a lot of mistakes in the last game he played, which was a bad audition for this final. But Amrabat, no matter about the mistakes he makes, he does two really good things. He helps us keep our defensive shape, and he fires up the players that don't hustle. Like when they see him hustle, they're like, fuck it, we gotta hustle. Like Casemiro plays harder, and everybody just plays harder. So I know the fans were like last week looking at like Amrabat holding onto the ball too long and not being aware. But if you look at the other things, like we haven't been that energized since he's been in our midfield since the Arsenal game, and we only lost the Arsenal game by 1, and we've won 2 games, even the game that he played a bad game. So I would keep Amrabat in there for sure, because he still is not game sharp because he's been on the bench most of the season.
Yeah.
And
I don't know why you want Casemiro to play like center back. I watched the Arsenal United game, and Casemiro forgot about the offsides, and he was just what.
It was his first game probably playing center back ever.
Okay, so he's got better, because that he pissed me off so much. I don't know. I was probably more mad than any United.
Last 2 games he saved 2 goals off the line. 1 versus Newcastle and 1 versus Brighton Hove. Like literally, like he saved them off the line. So that's 3 points. That's more goal difference. That's the game over. So he made those saves. So he's made up for that one mistake and the only reason why Arsenal beat us that game they only beat us by 1. We had no Bruno Fernandes. So I feel like that would have been a tie, or Arsenal might have actually lost that game.
No, yeah,
So
I watched the game. I was rooting for you guys, and
of
all of a
course you
sudden
were.
Casemiro's like, "Why are you walking? Why are you not running back to your line, brother?" Like, what? But yeah, you're telling me now like he's training and he's gonna be like the next Phil Stamp or something, right?
No, that's funny that you would say that. That's I expect you to clap back and say something, so that's fine. That's fine. But I only want him there so that they play Amrabat in the midfield, because I want Amrabat's legs, because that's what United has missed the most. And that's why sometimes when they say they want Ten Hag gone, and I like him, but I'm like, he should have played Amrabat sooner. He should have played Diallo sooner. Uh, the way Jadon Sancho is playing for Dortmund, like Jadon Sancho ain't gonna come back to United if Ten Hag's there. So if Ten Hag leaves, then we get Sancho back. So there are some good things. There are some pros to Ten Hag getting fired. You know what I mean? But I hope he wins the cup, whether he stays or not. Now we're gonna go to, what do they call this? The championship final? What do they call this, Lee?
Yeah, yeah. Before I
Yeah.
forget, really quickly, I'm gonna tell you because you asked earlier about like the coverage of the city trophy, and like if kind of people forgot, we were at the bar watching. We're trying to watch the city lifting the trophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as basically 10 minutes, kind of like 5 minutes after the game, they switched the transmission to watch Klopp walk around
Yeah.
basically right after basically. I'm like, we're like, we just won the league. Like we just won the league. They changed it to Klopp walking around and waving and stuff. And we basically have somebody
Yeah, I
have to
don't know why they
scramble.
did that on every channel.
Well, we were like, it was
because
like
they have class.
Yeah,
Klopp
rightly
won.
so.
They
I don't want
won.
to see
Klopp
City lift
won
another
legally.
title.
I know, but
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. Like that was just like I don't think like only to see they would. I don't done that to any other team. They're like, no, there's people trying to watch the whatever. So we have to scramble and go to Peacock to watch the city celebration because like the NBC decided, you know what, we don't care about this. Let's go watch Club.
You have to leave the bar and go on your phone and watch Peacock on your phone to see
Like somebody just
your
plugging like
celebration.
No, but
the
even
TV.
like I was watching Peacock and I wanted to watch because Chelsea had like the Thiago Silva farewell was going on, and there was a great like he got a guard of honor after the game, and he came out and said words, and there was a lap of honor. It was a whole 30-minute thing, but like I had to wait like to get clips on Twitter to actually see it, and then obviously the official Chelsea put out a video later on. But like the broadcast just got away from it. Even though the commentators are there, they're still commentating on it, but they just wouldn't show it like.
That's how great Klopp is. That's how great Klopp is.
Yeah.
Like, who do you think the league will like more, like, by the end of all this? Like, Klopp or Pep? And it's not that Pep is unlikable, but there's something super likable about Klopp for some reason. As a United fan, I like him. Pep loves him.
He was in tears in his press conference.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you know it's fake. Like, you know when he said we cannot replace him about Aguero, and then immediately bond the biggest fucking robot striker we've ever seen and smashed the league. Like he never used to play Sergio Aguero. What do you mean you cannot replace him? He used to constantly replace him. I like whenever Pep gasses up any opposition manager or player, I never take him seriously.
You know what? You're right. You're right. God damn it. You're right. Uh, so let's talk. So what do they call this thing, Lee? You're in this. What do they call this game? It's not because
It's the championship playoff final.
Championship playoff final, and
Yeah.
You need a more sexy
Southampton
name.
is in there versus. Say again.
You need a more sexy name for that. Like you need
Absolutely.
needs to be some sort of a bowl. Can you put it in a bowl?
Oh man, it's it's a one-off game. We need to hope that the Manchester derby in the FA Cup final doesn't ruin the pitch, because we're on the day after. We're on straight after you guys.
You get
on the
seconds,
Sunday. Yeah, we need you
get
to
what's left of the pitch. Just be happy.
Hopefully, is Maguire fit? Because he'll be kicking lumps out of that grass. But no, hopefully the pitch is in a good state. But yeah, it's I mean, apparently the game is worth £265 million
It
to the
went up.
winners. That's how much the last one was worth. Yeah, apparently
Oh,
is
shit.
$470 million apparently, according to the rate on there. But it's it's a lot of money. However it happens. I mean, Google's saying a few different things in terms of the number, but yeah, it's huge, and you know, it's a playoff final between the two strongest teams outside the top two. Because sometimes, you know, it's the top two go up automatically, and then it's third, fourth, fifth, and sixth who go into the playoffs. And sometimes the team that scraped sixth end up winning the playoffs, and it's crazy to see someone that was that far off get promoted. But this time, the playoff is between third and fourth place. Leeds finished third. We finished fourth. We both drew 0-0 in our first leg semi-finals, them against Norwich, us against West Brom. Then they won 4-0 against Norwich. We won 3-1 against West Brom, two like comfortable wins. And yeah, I mean, there's not much in it. Leeds probably go in as a slight favourites because they finished above us, but we beat them twice in the season. But we do have some key players out. We don't know if Shea Adams is fit yet. He's missed both semi-final games. He came into some form at the end of the season. He scored against Leeds.
Well, we need him now.
At their ground. Yeah. So we don't know if he's going to be fit. Stuart Armstrong is out. He's been a key player for us this season. Not Adam Armstrong, who's our top goal scorer, is the other one, but he's still key for us.
Stuart is who's the top scorer? Adam or Stuart?
Adam Armstrong. He's playing.
He's playing. All right.
Yeah,
I could live without Stuart.
Stuart Armstrong's been key for us this season, though. He makes the midfield tick. So we're going to miss him. Gavin Bazunu, who's been our first choice keeper, ex-City academy kid. He's been our first choice keeper for most of the season, and he got injured with about 4 games to go. So he's been out. But the keeper we've got instead, Alex McCarthy, he's not as good with his feet as Bazunu, but he's probably a better all-round goalkeeper, like shot stopping, crosses. So I'm not too worried about him being in. But yeah, it's going to be like, I can't call it. It's who rises to the occasion on the day. Both squads have a lot of quality in them. But yeah, I'm going to be there. I've got my ticket. It's
Cool.
yeah. So it's either going to be one of my worst days as a Southampton fan or one of the best. Like there's no like this day can't just go okay. There's no middle. It's either going to be you know, sheer joy or pure disappointment. It's one or the other. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game because we've played around with our formation the last few games. Like the playoff semi-finals, one game we played 4-3-3, one game we played 3-5-2. We beat Leeds with a 3-5-2 at their stadium. Towards the end of the season, we beat them with a 4-3-3 with a false 9 earlier on in the season. So we've got a few plans to keep them guessing. They don't know if Shea Adams is going to be fit or not. The club released some training videos earlier today of like the squad training, and you couldn't see Shea Adams. But I don't know if that's maybe a mind trick to be like, oh, they don't know if they're going to face him or not. They could just say to the club, videographer, like, don't include him in the video.
Sorry, I've never experienced a moment in any league where Shea Adams, like whether he's playing or not, is like it's like a cliffhanger. So it's just funny.
In this game, we need him. Like he's the sort of player I want in this final because he will run, and he will hassle people down. He's not always the most composed in front of goal, but he's better than the other options we have. And there's another player as well who wasn't in the video, who we don't know if he's fit, is a guy called Ross Stewart. We signed him from Sunderland for a bunch of money at the start of the season, and we signed him with like a blown Achilles or something like that, and he barely played. Like I saw him come off the bench for 10 minutes in a game I went to away at Huddersfield, and then he got injured, didn't come back again. Then he played like the last 10 minutes against or for 20 minutes against West Brom in the first leg, didn't appear in the second leg. But he's a big presence. He's a big striker. We haven't got anyone else like him, and he might be on the bench as well, but he hasn't been pictured in training, and Adams hasn't been pictured in training. So there's a lot of weight on Adam Armstrong's shoulders in this game. But yeah, it's going to be a wild one. I could see it going to extra time. I could see it going the distance. This one potentially. So
Let me check what
Yeah.
time it is.
it's a
what time
3
is it?
p.m.
LA time.
It's a 3 p.m. kickoff here, I think.
7 a.m. All right.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee hasn't given me a lot of confidence with this breakdown. I tell you that. But it is mad brave of you to like get a ticket and go, because I know how much you fear losing this game. So I want Southampton back. I'm a United fan. I don't want fuck Leeds. You know what I mean? So,
Lee, I hope you guys make it, and of course, I'm going to be rooting. I'm going to be watching the game, rooting for you guys. But if you don't, here's the positives for next season. So Luton are, tiny Luton. They're going to go away. Sheffield United are trash, and Burnley are without a manager now, because Vincent Company is going to be the next Bayern Munich manager.
Yeah, it's pretty much done.
Yeah. So it's you just gotta hold on for another season if at all.
The only problem is we will lose a few really good players if we don't go up. So we'll have to rebuild again for next season. So Kyle Walker-Peters, he's too good for the Championship. He's not hanging around if we stay down. There's a couple other players that we'll probably lose as well. So we got a couple of guys on loan from Bournemouth who'll probably go back. So yeah, Shea Adams, I think there's talk of him already agreeing a contract with Wolves. So he's going to be in the Premier League next season, whatever happens.
Okay.
So
Lee, who scares you the most from Leeds? Is there like, do you have a player that you see and you're like, oof, this is gonna be trouble?
the two of the forwards that worry me, there's a guy called Somerville, but these guys play for the Premier League.
yeah.
Somerville and Nonto.
Something's good.
Yeah. They're the two that worry me, because they're pacey, they're tricky,
I remember those
and
guys.
they're finishers as well. But they got a good front line. They got a striker called Joel Pirro, who played for Swansea the season before, but our manager knows him because he managed him at Swansea. And there's Jorginho Ruta as well, is a very good player for them, too good for the Championship. So they've got a team full of quality. They've got a really good young midfielder who I think will end up at a big club somewhere called Archie Gray, who's like, he's had like ex-Leeds players in his family, like Eddie Gray, who was a legend there. So it's
yeah. He played and scored against us in the cup.
Yeah. He's a very talented player. So they've got a lot of quality in their team.
They still have Bamford.
And let's not forget about Man United legend Daniel James.
Right.
He is there as well. He'll probably be like a weapon off the bench for them, which, if you're one of Southampton's defenders and it's a baking hot day at Wembley, and you've already had to defend against pacey players for 70 minutes, if you see him coming off the bench, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, don't sleep on Dan James. Ollie lost his job after he sold Dan James. Before Dan James got sold, Ollie's job was fine. Like, we got Ronaldo, sold Dan James, and Ollie lost his job. When Ollie just had Dan James and no Ronaldo, Man United was finishing second and third in the league. So
Man,
don't forget that.
I just looked up the Leeds roster, and the guy who's played every minute of every game for them is good old Ethan Ampadu.
He's had
in defense. He's a great season.
Yeah, Welsh guy.
Yeah,
That's
Chelsea, right?
Yeah. So they've got a really strong squad. So
Lee, we wish you the best, man.
Yeah, I wish you the best, man.
Yeah.
Just need the luck on the day.
I could tell by Lee's face. He's
mad. Which one are you wearing? Like, are you wearing the jersey on the left or on the right?
We're going with that one.
Why that one?
Because it's the most traditional one.
Yeah. The other one looks a little too funky.
Yeah, we got the red and white stripes on that one. We've lost at Wembley in that in that kit. So yeah, I think was it that one? We lost at Wembley against Chelsea in an FA Cup semi-final, and I think it was in that shirt.
Oh, the Giroud's goal.
Yeah,
He scored that crazy goal.
yeah, that one. Yeah, he was like half on the floor.
Yeah.
Because I was at Wembley for that game. So my last visit to Wembley didn't go too well. But we're not wearing red and white. We're wearing our third shirt, which is black with yellow trim.
I like that.
Which we're on a bit of an unbeaten run in that shirt. So
Okay.
yeah, but all the fans will be there in red and white. So I'll probably go with that one. We'll see. But
Hey,
I'll make a decision.
Lee, just to clarify, are you going to be in the sequel to the final attack on Wembley? is that going to happen? Like, have you guys seen the documentary?
Nah, what's that?
There's a documentary on Netflix about the Wembley game, Italy versus England, and how the hooliganism on that game went, absolutely off the charts. The Euros final.
Oh, when they stormed to get in again.
Yeah. So
yeah. They've made a lot of security changes for Wembley games. The protocols changed completely since then. They've
Lee, do you really have a ticket?
I do, yeah. I'm still waiting for it to arrive in the post.
I want you to go live on Instagram live, and so
we'll see if I get any signal at the stadium, because sometimes when there's 90,000 people, the phone signal goes a bit crap. But no, I'll be having fun. I'm going with some friends and my brother as well. We're gonna have a good day of it, and it's on Sunday. So if we're recording next Sunday, and whether we've won or not, I might be drunk on that podcast. Who knows?
That's fine.
Yeah, that one could be raw either way.
We need more drunk soccer talk. That's what we need. I guess one of the last things, if not the last thing, is fantasy league. Who won and where did everybody finish up?
Oh, Neil, you might want to log off now.
I haven't touched my team in like ages.
Yeah, so as expected, Joachim Henriksen took the title with 2,513 points with his team Boca FC. He won by quite a stretch, ahead of Ahmad Zekri, who was second.
Joachim.
And Jose Stable was third, again by a little bit of a gap. So that's our top three. Martin came sixth this year, which disgusts me.
It's not bad.
Yeah, he kept gambling on Foden, and it kept coming up for him. He had Foden captain on the last day of the season, so he got a nice double goal amount there, which is it's a bunch. I climbed some places like over the last couple of weeks. I went up from 17th to 13th. So I had a couple. I had a couple of good weeks.
Respectable.
So I'll take that. I ended up only 8 points behind Joey Duda. Almost caught him. He finished 11th.
All right, Joey, that's respectable.
But yeah, Neil didn't finish bottom. Neil finished second.
I think my initial charge, I was doing well in the first couple of months. I think.
You were killing it early on. You came 34 out of 35, so not last. So we'll take that.
You pull a reverse Arsenal. You're good.
But, good fun. Thanks to everyone for playing. We'll make sure the details get reactivated for next year's one. If you didn't play this year, join us for next season. We'll see if I can improve I just need to finish above Martin. I don't even want to win it next year. I just want to finish above Martin.
You sound like a Spurs fan.
I was gonna say that's pretty Spursy.
You've got to embrace the mindset of a Spurs fan to beat a Spurs fan. So
Spurs fan,
it's like catching a serial killer. You gotta think like one. I get it. Well,
but it's good fun.
Yeah, it's good fun. Well, it's been a hell of a season, man. Thanks everybody that watched and listened, and thank you guys for joining. Alex, if you want to join next weekend, if you dare join after Man City loses in the FA Cup final to United. What's so funny, guys? Why is everybody laughing?
Hey guys,
just
he's serious. I might convince him to make the jersey, but don't laugh, please.
you won't be able to do that. But man, we might be able to pull this off, man. What I
Yeah,
have to lose, I hoping.
You might.
Well,
So
so what?
you might win. So why not win a jersey?
I can buy a jersey for myself. I'm good. I'm not like
yeah.
I got jersey money. I'm not gonna add humility. I'll feel better if I buy myself a jersey than if I have to buy you a City jersey.
Just just in
if
case
we lose to you, if we
Lee
lose
and
to
Neil
you,
don't know.
listen.
Yeah, go
If
ahead.
we lose to you, I'll just buy myself a United jersey to make me feel better. So that's what I'll do. What were you gonna say?
I don't know because maybe they don't know, but normally make bets with other people about jerseys, and so far I think like I'm gonna be 13-1. Well, maybe 12-1.
That's pretty
Yes,
convenient as a City fan.
Yes.
well, hey, I
Pick
make
this
bets.
decade to have jersey forfeits and everybody.
Yeah, you might as well
I
take
lost.
advantage of
I lost
all these
against
illegal
Madrid.
charges. You know what I'm
I lost
saying?
against Madrid. I lost against Madrid, and that's the only one that I lost. Madrid. Normally, people. I think Liverpool like that's been like a pretty like fair one.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens this Saturday. Hopefully, United
How
can.
many jerseys have you got so far?
13-1, just 13 wins,
13.
one loss.
Just another 102 to go.
Yeah.
So there is.
Quick
Well,
math.
thank you guys, Alex. Thank you for joining. Congrats again. Must be nice to
No,
win
congrats. It was a great season.
for a great season. Like even if I joke about the charges, that team is thorough. All those players did their thing from the bench to the starters, and exceptional coach, exceptional mentality, and hey man, you guys earned it on the pitch, 1,000%. So that's off. And Lee, man, rooting for you, rooting for you. And
We still got loads of football as well to look forward to. We got the Champions League final next weekend. We've got the Euros.
Got the Euros
on the horizon as well. Like it's all happening. So there's plenty more football to enjoy, even if the Premier League's done.
Yeah, football don't sleep, and I'll be going to that Arsenal Man United game at SoFi.
Oh, cool.
In the summer. I already got tickets for that.
Nice.
And just whatever tour dates with whatever teams come through. I'll usually go check out a game in Vegas, except the hotel that I would stay at. The Tropicana has been torn down, and they're going to turn it into a minor league baseball team field.
Oh wow!
And you used to be able to there's free parking at the Tropicana. They used to have the Laugh Factory in there, so the manager would hook me up with a room, and then you could walk. It's one of the closest hotels to Raider Stadium, so I could just walk with the crowd to the game instead of getting caught in traffic and driving, and walk back. And now,
so what's going to happen with the Laugh Factory?
I don't know if they're going to move it to somewhere else. I have no idea, but it's gone. Anybody want to plug anything, any socials, and then we just bounce?
I'm just gonna quickly give a shout out to the San Diego Man City group. This is like a joke, but I've been going with these guys for like 4 or 5 years watching the games, and I finally decided to pay my $20, and I'm an official City member.
Oh, cool.
So we went from 6 members to 7. No, there's more. There's like hundreds of them, but yeah,
enjoy watching them lose. I love when now you now you're gonna know what it feels like to lose. Good. Are you gonna check out any of those games and fuck with that? Because the San Diego team, Neil.
Well, I signed up to be their founding member. They had those packages out, but they've made the process so complicated that I kind of lost interest. So I still got to go back and check, because I wanted to get those season ticket season tickets. But yeah, I got to go back and check what's up with that.
Yeah, they make everything like filling out taxes. I was like, I just want to buy something. Why are you making me, just take the cash?
Yeah.
What's all this information I got to give you? Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm not a fan of the name they came up with. They did a whole thing that, we are going to consult with stakeholders, we're going to consult with football lovers, soccer lovers in the city. I think they ran a poll, and eventually they came up with the name San Diego FC.
It's
I'm
not
like,
bad. I like that.
yeah, but that could have happened. Like, you didn't need to go through all of this. Like, this could have been the boilerplate, This is the first thing ever.
I think it's safe, but I respect it because some of the earlier MLS names used to just turn me off. So
Earthquakes,
yeah, it's like
hurricanes.
yeah, I know and you're mentioning teams. Are they still in even in the MLS?
I think the earthquakes, the San Jose earthquakes, right? Was
Like
it?
They are,
that's a
yeah.
crazy.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
San
still
Diego
around.
FC is better than the San Diego Sea Lions or something stupid.
Yes.
San Diego homeless surf riders, like that, that could have been
People,
such a vibe.
people, there was people that wanted him to be named the Chargers just to mess with like the actual Chargers that left San
Nah,
Diego to move to LA.
Uh,
But they were like, you cannot because of naming rights. But people were like, if he
Alright.
if
thank
he's
God.
if he's such a good troll, you need to
Right.
you're like, okay, we got the
Yeah,
Chargers
yeah,
back,
yeah.
There is, and it's in the old Charger Stadium.
Yeah, Qualcomm.
Yeah, the Qualcomm Stadium. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a nice complete stadium. I watched
yeah,
United second team play Wrexham there.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
well, all right, guys. Thank you, Neil,
Nice.
Chakravarty,
Thank you.
Alex Avila, Lee Hudson. Thank you all for listening and watching all season. We'll do it again on Sunday for Man United, celebrate Man United's victory again over Man City in the FA Cup. And yeah, can't wait. Can't wait. Be good, y'all. One love.
See ya.
One.
Bye.